In this video, I want to talk about another version of Sweater Quilt 2, the smaller version that you can make. I was going to use my 10 fabric panels and weave potholder size squares out of fisherman yarn for the backing. But I'm kind of in a hurry and need to finish this more quickly than taking the time to weave all the squares. It's not that many, but I just don't have time to do it right now. So what I'm doing instead of the fabric backing is, instead of the woven backing, I'm using burlap. So this is technically not a sweater quilt anymore, and my version is going to be a dollhouse. And if you watch the video for the smaller version of the Sweater Quilt 2, that is really for making a baby blanket or a lap quilt. But what I'm doing is I'm going to you can see I have a cardboard template that I've got my fabric pieces, I've got random burlap pieces, I've got them pinned together, and before I stitch them, I'm going to take my cardboard template with the size that I want and mark on the fabric with chalk around the template so that all the pieces end up the same size. I had to use scrap pieces of burlap, and just a couple of them are a little short, so I'm making the whole project a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to do something a little different. This is one of my block prints, which is a tree, and it's done in ink, and then I've colored crayon over it. And as you can see on this one, the shadow of Santa, after I washed it, the shadow of Santa behind the tree remained. So this is going to be a dollhouse, and I'm going to trim this fabric, and each of these tree block prints is going to be a pocket for a spool doll. So I don't know, I'll probably put it on the burlap side. And all of this, I believe, can be done with a Model 20. So this is still a Model 20 project, even though I'm using burlap. Now, at one point, I had sewn some burlap on a Model 20, and I had run into a problem with the tension. But it was either the machine or how I was trying to do it. But I've just made a sample patch with this same burlap and cotton fabric on the back, and it comes out fine. There's one corner that has one loose loop, but that's not unusual when you go around a corner. So I thought, because the burlap is so loosely woven, that the forming of the loops would be a problem, but it isn't at all. So after I make each of the panels, I will then hold them vertically, really like that, and there'll be 2 across and, a top row and a bottom row, and 5 across. And one of our houses that we lived in was a 10-room house. It was a beautiful old sea captain's house, and 10 very oddly shaped rooms. So depending on the colors of the burlap, one level is going to be the downstairs and one's going to be the upstairs. And I mean, you can have fun with this, and you can take, even if you don't block print, you can color on fabric. You don't have to block print it. You can just color on fabric and then use a hot iron with your crayon work face down on brown paper, and that will heat set the crayon and remove excess wax, and then you can trim your fabric and make a hand-drawn crayon pocket. So I'll do a photo when the whole thing is done, but this is another version of Sweater Quilt 2, which is now going to be a dollhouse.